Nam yo ho ning ge cho 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 nam yo ho ning ge.
Hi, I'm Margaret. This is the website where we take Buddhist philosophy and practice and apply it to the problems and concerns of everyday life. But this week, I'm going to do something a little bit different. I was asked a question. How did you do your human revolution? Well, first of all, let's be very clear. I haven't finished my human revolution. I'm still in process exactly as the rest of you are. For those of you who might be unfamiliar with the term, human revolution is the internal transformation that takes place when you practice Nichiren Buddhism. I've been practicing since 1994. My now husband sponsored me, and even though I had done another spiritual practice for many years, I realized that if we were going to be together, we probably needed to be on the same spiritual path. So I learned Ganyo. And once my husband makes up his mind to do something, he's excellent at follow-through. He helped keep me on the straight and narrow with a consistent daily practice during my first year when I was establishing the new habit. This was a real benefit for me because at the time I was short on follow-through. As part of our daily practice, we read encouragement from the Buddhist calendar or from a daily encouragement book. These aren't long, a paragraph maybe, but they do help to remind me of our Buddhist philosophy. I personally think these encouragements are important because our cultural training is so different from what we learn in the practice. Two of the concepts that have really helped guide me are oneness of self and the environment, and the simultaneity of cause and effect. Since this is a Buddhism of true cause, I understood early on that my thoughts, words, and deeds of today will manifest in the future, creating my future life. I got it. I needed to really watch what I was doing, saying, and thinking, what I was projecting to the universe. Knowing about these two concepts made me think seriously about what I was projecting when I was laid off of one of my 2 part-time jobs. I was a practicing mental health counselor, split between 2 agencies. After a brief moment of panic, I remembered I had the practice, so I sat down and started chanting for the perfect job for me. I absolutely refused to look at my fears. I didn't want to manifest those, only at what I wanted to have happen. I didn't know what the job would look like or how I was going to get there, but I trusted that the mystic law would guide me. Then I took action and got my resume ready. I told my supervisor in my remaining job that I would like to work full-time. But I never could have imagined what actually transpired. A week later, he called me into his office and he told me he was planning to move and leave the agency. He offered me his position, which meant I was given the opportunity to run the social work division. It turned out to be a job I absolutely loved, the perfect job for me. President Ikeda says that we should always do the best we can, and he's a wonderful demonstration of that. I have watched videos of him and seen what he has done as he travels around the world, and when faced with a major obstacle, he gears in and uses the practice to overcome it. I've seen that when he feels something needs to be done, he doesn't give in to fears, but chants about it and does it, such as talking to the head of Russia and China, which ended up preventing a war. When he faced the enmity of Nichiren Shoshu, he didn't give in, but kept on moving forward no matter what. I've tried to model my behavior on his. I've had many examples of actual proof since I've started to practice, and each goal that I've achieved has taught me something about this Buddhism and solidified my faith. But it's been through one inconspicuous benefit after another, unrecognized at the time, which have brought me to be doing the work I'm doing now, writing and speaking about Buddhism and supporting the practice of other people. When I started chanting, I was a mental health counselor professionally, but I'd always felt that there should be a spiritual component in the work I was doing. That just wasn't possible, as I had a license and there were only certain ways you could work with a client. But I kept hearing the experiences of members, and I realized that what I was hearing was what I'd been looking for as a therapist, a way that really worked to help people become happy. And I felt my life was really split. About 3 years after I started chanting, my sister suggested we do a writing course together and then a critique group. A benefit unrecognized. I had begun to learn the craft of writing. Concurrently, I was proving the practice to myself. Over the next few years, I taught Buddhism at a prison, and I heard experiences from prisoners. That experience honed my ability to explain concepts. When I was asked to be a district leader, I saw the benefit of the practice in people's lives. I also saw some of the struggle. I introduced new people and then watched their lives turn around and become happy. All along, I've stayed close to other experienced practitioners. My husband and I have had weekly meetings at our home for many years. And when I became a district leader, 3 experienced leaders and I chanted an hour together and discussed Buddhism 5 mornings a week over a 9-year period. 10 years into learning the craft of writing, I realized there was only one thing I wanted to write about: this Buddhism. When I retired, I was free to pursue my passion. My life changed from being split between my clinical practice and my spiritual life to unify in the work I love the best, writing about and supporting people in this Buddhism. First, I wrote Your Path to Unshakable Happiness to help practitioners who were introducing new people. Writing that book was a major spiritual battle. I had tremendous resistance to doing the work until I read The War of Art, a benefit, where Stephen Pressfield says, quote, "The more important a call or action is to our soul's evolution, the more resistance we'll feel toward pursuing it," unquote. This book must be very important to my evolution, I thought, to be as resistant as I am. I chanted to overcome my resistance and then chanted about the book. I began to get ideas so fast that I would sit in front of the Gohanzen with a yellow pad taking notes. Sometimes I would come away with 3 or 4 pages. I had a critique group of brand new people who forced me to clarify my writing so they could understand Buddhism. Another benefit, although a difficult one. If I couldn't explain it so they could understand it, how could I explain it to anybody else? I took one of those chapters back 18 times. I've been thrilled that some people who've read the book have walked into SGI centers and said they wanted to start the practice. My goal was to help practitioners with introducing the practice to new people. As a follow-up, I wrote Stepping Stones, a guide to Buddhist practice. Next, I started this website for new people. But they weren't the ones writing me. I was hearing from people who were struggling with the practice, trying to cope with major obstacles and not being successful with it. You put that kind of problem in front of this therapist? I couldn't resist. I changed the focus of the website and have been studying the writings daily to determine what might prevent someone from getting benefit from the practice. I chatted about my role and defined how what I was doing was different from the SGI website. They teach Buddhism. My mission is to help people get benefit from the practice. I've been doing this bi-weekly vlog now for a couple of years. My husband produces the videos and formats my books. In the vlogs, I'm focusing on different reasons why people might have trouble achieving their goals and what we have to do to master our minds in order to be successful. Currently, I'm putting together an ebook which should pull it all together. But to do this work, I've had to deal with many fears. For 3 years, I depended on the daily encouragement in For Today and Tomorrow. Their President Ikeda tells us that we are unique. Choose your life path and don't let anybody talk you out of it, he says. I reflected on his life and saw that he'd done exactly that and decided I was going to do it as well. I've discovered that fears always hit when I'm contemplating expanding my life in some way. I expect them now and chant my way through them. I continue to chant about my goals and problems, bounce ideas off experienced practitioners, do daily study, model my behavior on my mentor, and do my own work. It's just a wonderful life. Today, my books are available on my website at www.margaretblaine.com. I hope that now some of you will share your victories and what you've done to get over humps in your chanting practice. If you don't want to go public, email me at margaret@margaretblaine.com and tell me if I have permission to use your experience with a change of name. Thanks, and I'll see you in a couple of weeks.